Welcome, everybody. Thank you for giving up a Saturday morning. And we are here together to help, next slide, to help us consider how we can maximise success, our club success, around the Rotary Youth Competitions and Rotary Young Citizen Awards. And it's about the specialist advisor teams in collaboration. So just a couple of housekeeping points. This is a webinar, so you're not going to be able to speak or to use chat. There will be a recording that will be available in the Rotary Great Britain and Ireland YouTube channel next week. We will be following up with information after the weekend when we have got the link live for you. So we will send you that link. And we will also be doing further follow-up in another month or so with you all. You can use the Q&A button to put in any questions that you've got at any point during today's session. So please use that and we will make sure that we cover those points. And if there's anything that we can't cover, we will follow up with that afterwards as well. So next, what are we here about? We are here about being together, about uniting, taking action, creating lasting change. And it's about young people. And actually, I'm probably not the best person to speak to you about that. But let's just think about that vision statement that's on your screen right now about the being together. Let's think about our action plan. This is an action plan across the globe for Rotary next. And it was about how can we increase the impact? How can we reach out to more people, whether that's in our own local areas or beyond? How can we get more people involved? Maybe it's people that have been involved before that come back to get involved, whether it's new people, new organisations, new partners. And we need to be able to adapt. And I think we really can showcase that in what we do and how we do it around the Rotary Youth Competitions and the Rotary Young Citizen Awards. But I'd like Phil to go to the next slide, and we're going to be hearing a little bit from our now Rotary International President, Francesco Arezzo, when he was talking at Calgary. Phil, play the next slide, please.
Unity means working in harmony, building bridges, involving as many people as possible to achieve more and more effective results. Together. It is a word that must always stand out prominently in all our workplaces. Together. Alone we go nowhere. Any difficulty will seem insurmountable. Let us leave the Superman we think we are in the attic and learn instead to value the team, to use our infinite different skills, to look at problems for different points of view. Alone, we lose. Together, we win. Always. Together, we can unite. We can unite to change lives, including our own. We can unite to change communities right around the corner and half a world away. We can unite to change our world for the better, not just for us, but for generations to come. Together, we unite for good.
So I think the Unite for Good, the presidential message for us this Rotary year, what RI President Francesco said there, it is about collaboration. And that's why this morning's webinar is with myself as the Humanitarian Service Lead, Specialist Advisor Team, Phil Dyer, the Public Image Specialist Advisor Team, and Ken McLennan, the Membership Specialist Advisor Team. And you'll be seeing a lot of us in a minute, but just a few more things that I want to talk about, because it's about how we can together collaborate, how we can engage to build and deliver effective support for you, because it's what you are doing, how you are working with young people, with your communities, and particularly around today's subject around Rotary Youth Competitions and Rotary Young Citizen Awards. Next. There are other specialist advisor teams as well as the three of our teams. There's the Rotary Foundation, End Polio Now, and Endowments and Major Gifts. And we're all supported by the Leadership and Development team. It's about how we are all here ultimately to support you and what you are doing so that together we can make Rotary great. We can actually be helping more young people, more people in our communities, because we are stronger. Next. So in your clusters, and this map shows what cluster you are in, there will be a follow-up meeting probably sometime in October with members from the specialist advisor teams and you and anybody else interested in the Rotary Youth Competitions and Rotary Young Citizens Awards, so that we can learn from each other, share our successes, share the challenges, help each other overcome them, and help if you haven't got enough people to help you, then maybe we can get people working together so that there is better support. So enough of the slides for now. What I'd like to do now is if we actually hear from Phil and Ken and a different thought from myself. Let's start with, please, a question to both of you. How can you introduce yourselves and your specialist advisor team and how they are relevant to Rotary Youth Competitions and Rotary Young Citizen Awards? Ken, can we start with you, please?
Certainly. So I'm Ken. I look after membership across Britain and Ireland. Now that kind of sounds wrong, but at the end of the day, we're here to support you in everything you do. We've got nothing else to do but support you. And membership has got such an opportunity in working with all the teams and promoting every aspect, but particularly youth. But thinking of the two-way process, there's obviously a huge benefit to our youth in all that we do, and especially running these competitions. But think also of the benefit to Rotary. There's a two-way thing in this. And when we get a hold of, if I think of young musician, I was privileged to stand in front of 200 parents, 200 family members, 200 other kids, and got the time to share with them the benefit of Rotary and working with them so that we could build even better competitions in the future. At the end of the day, we have to look after our youth, because at the end of the day, they are our future. So Phil, tell us a little bit about the public image.
Cheers, Ken. Thanks, Jannine. Thanks for the invitation to come along today. I really reiterate what Ken said there. We're here to support you. But what I think with regard to youth competitions is it's the perfect opportunity to shout Rotary. I think it's an often missed opportunity to shout Rotary. There's so much time and effort put into youth competitions that strapping the word Rotary and making everyone aware that this is a Rotary initiative and a Rotary competition is often a missed opportunity. And I think doing that and making it look like we're part of that global organisation, being proud of the badge that we wear, he says with under his t-shirt here, being proud of the badge that we wear is often a missed opportunity. So we, as a team, a public image team, a bit like Ken and Jannine's, we operate throughout Rotary Great Britain and Ireland with the cluster network, and we've got people out there that can assist you and give you help and advice to make your competition look like a Rotary competition. And I think that's the starting point. And as Ken said there, you have an opportunity then to meet the mums and dads and grandparents that go along to these competitions, and they're in no uncertain terms that this is a Rotary event, a hosted, a organised, a an event put on by Rotary in your district or your club. So I think it's a great opportunity to shout Rotary. Thank you.
Thanks ever so much, Phil. And from a humanitarian service team's perspective, I mean, all we're here for doing is supporting what you're doing in your Rotary service projects and activities, whatever you call them, whatever your role, whether it is related to youth or community or international or anything else. It's about how can we share our talents and our skills and our expertise, stop reinventing the wheel? How can we actually really do more for less effort, but greater success? Ken, you referred to young musician earlier, and Phil has just told us we should be making sure the word Rotary is involved. And I know that there are some clubs that do amazing programs about young writer or young chef. Nobody knows Rotary is even involved. Any comments on that, Ken, from a membership perspective? How on earth are we going to get members?
Absolutely, Jannine. I was shocked. I went along to a district final, and it happened to be a young musician. There wasn't a Rotary poster up that told the 200 teachers, mums, dads, brothers, sisters, lookers in, because it was in a community centre. What an ideal opportunity for Rotary to be publicised. What an ideal opportunity to say to the mums and dads, your kids are getting the benefit of Rotary, which they are, and that's fabulous, and that's what we're here for. But maybe they want to give back as well. And the opportunity for hooking them into Rotary and saying, look, we've looked after your kids. How about you jumping in here as well? How about advertising? How about putting something on the seats that shares what we're about and why we're doing this?
Thanks very much, Ken. So we think that there's a lot that we can be doing to support what you're doing, and it's right through the whole project life cycle. And there's lots of resources and information that generally available through Rotary International, through the Rotary Learning Centre, as well as through the Rotary Great Britain and Ireland website and through the specialist advisor teams. So, right from the very beginning about planning and organising what you're going to be doing, who are you going to involve? What do your community in your local area, what do they want? What have you got the resources, human resources or any other resources to help you with? What are your goals going to be? You really need to be creating a project plan. But all the way through that, public image can really help. And Phil, you've just got a few slides to share with us, haven't you, with some key messages about the sorts of things you're thinking about. And you should be thinking about in the whole process from conception. It might be something you've been involved in for many years and you've been running really successfully, or it might be that you're going to take on a new competition or whatever it is. Phil, over to you, please.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to quickly go to that. So I will kick off here. We've mentioned the action plan already this morning. Jannine brought it up. But in my world, the action plan is all about public image. It's nothing to do with humanitarian service. It's got absolutely nothing to do with membership. It's all about me and public image. And I'm gonna just dwell on that for a moment, if you will just humour me. So it's all about public image. It's the starting block. We need to make our youth competitions look like they are Rotary youth competitions, because that brings a degree of excitement to the event. It brings some consistency. So when we're doing multiple competitions in districts and adjoining districts, it looks like we're part of the bigger world. So it's all about increasing our impact. It's all about expanding our reach into new communities and telling people about not only the competitions that we're undertaking, but the work of Rotary. It's all about getting everyone involved in the competition. Everyone in the club can get involved. Yes, there'll be someone that's going to be the organizer, and there'll be a committee, and there'll be a little team, but everyone needs to get involved. And if you haven't got the skills in the club, reach outside the club. Come and speak to me and my team, or Jannine's team, or Ken's team. There's skills out there, and there's volunteers. Like I say, we're all volunteers. And look outside of the club if you need that additional skill. And increase our ability to adapt. It's all about maybe taking that fabulous photograph, maybe even trying a little video and putting it onto social media, because it's the video and the engaging photograph that will make people stop and look at your competition. Which brings me on that we live in a visual world. We all carry in our pockets a TV studio, and it's all about trying to capture those little moments. The video this morning that we watched with the Rotary International presidents was cropped down from a larger piece. It's easy to do. It's really easy to get involved and put that little bit of video out. What we need to remember is that everyone in our private lives, in our Rotary lives, in our business lives, we all buy with our eyes. How many times do you scroll past advert after advert after advert, but one day you stop? And that's what we want people to do, is stop and take a look at what we are doing. And you're only going to do that with an engaging post, an impressive picture, or a little bit of video. If it's full of text, you are wasting your time. We need to remember as also that everything we do is a presentation. When we are operating our competitions, the public are looking to us. They're going, I wonder who organised this? And they need to know it's Rotary. Good or bad, they need to know it's Rotary, because we get the name out there and the good work that we do in our communities. Everything that you need to know about public image is on the brand sensor. If you've got an internet connection and a browser, you can go. You don't need a login. It's all on the brand sensor. Graphics, typography, photographs, videos, absolutely everything. The theme, people of action. And if you don't know how to use it, or you want some more information, email address at the end, give me a call. Me, the team, will be glad to help you. Remember, we're a global organisation. And we need to shout the word Rotary. These competitions are Rotary competitions. I think, Jannine, I'll stop there, and we'll see where the debate goes this morning. I hope that was okay.
Thanks ever so much, Phil. Ken, can I just come back to you, please? Because, there's been mention of Rotary clubs a couple of times already today, but we're talking about how do we involve other people. And actually, there's lots of other Rotarians, not just those that are in clubs. Can you tell us about those and how we can actually get involved with them?
If we just stop and think for a second, we've got direct members, club members, we've got corporate members, and we're now starting to get enterprise members. They are all desperate to get involved. They joined Rotary to do things. They are inspired by what we do. They're inspired by bringing on our youth, because as I said earlier, youth are our future. We need to look after them. But if we don't involve these people, they're going to leave Rotary, and they want to come and join everything we do. Go and bring them in. They are available. We can give you all the contacts. The district knows who they are. The district's got all the contacts. And if there's nobody in your district or in your club or in your area, give me a shout. We'll find them. They want to help. And the opportunity for that works right across all of Rotary, not just the club, not just the corporate, not just the other pieces. We're all here to help. We're all Rotarians. Everybody is a Rotarian. I get hung up about direct and corporate. We're all Rotarians at the end of the day.
Absolutely. And for me, that's it. It's about Rotarians bringing opportunities for the young people through these programs. But it's not just about the young people. It is about everybody else that's involved with those young people, everybody in your community that's involved with young people in any way, shape or form. And don't forget that in what you're doing and how you're doing it. So, Phil, if you can go back to the PowerPoint for me for a moment, I would just like to mention someone who isn't able to be with us as yet this morning. She hopefully will be joining us just for a few minutes later on. And that's a really important person in the Rotary Youth Competitions and Rotary Young Citizen Awards, because her name is Hannah Graham. And Hannah is a member of the Rotary Great Britain and Ireland youth team, and she is the lead for the Rotary Youth Competitions. So we will be introducing you to her very briefly later on, but when Phil is able to share the slide, it will also have her email address and also another email address. So a new email has been introduced this year, which is competitions@rotarygbi.org. And all of this information from the slides that you're seeing today and lots of other bits and pieces will be coming to you. Some of it will be coming to you next week as the follow-up, and some of it will be coming out over the next month or so as we develop further resources, etc. for you. So the competitions@rotarygbi.org is where any inquiries related to any of the Rotary Youth Competitions is going. And the reason we've created that is because our experience has shown that many of the inquiries about those competitions or those awards are the same ones. How do I get hold of my local Rotary club? I've contacted my club and they haven't responded. Or we can't find what's going on in our local area. All similar sorts of competition queries. So there's a special little team that's been formed, the competition inquiry team, that will handle those sorts of bits and pieces of questions. They will be the first response there. But when there's a question about what do we do about entries for Rotary Young Photographer, what can we do about something specific about Rotary Young Chef or Rotary Young Musician? Well, that competition inquiry team is still your first place to go with your queries and the queries from the public, but they will then refer the queries that are not just those standard ones on to the specialist teams that are involved with that particular competition or those particular Rotary Young Citizen Awards. So that's how that email address will work. The next slide is one that, unless you have got magnifying glasses or bionic eyes, you're not going to be able to read, and you don't need to read it. It is basically a one-page overview of all of the Rotary Youth Competitions for 2025-26. It's been out for several months now. It's gone out in humanitarian service newsletters, members newsletters, through the Rotary magazine. It's on the Rotary GBNI website, but it is just a one-page snapshot of what's happening in all of the events for this Rotary year. Also, next slide, there are lots of materials already available, and the specialist advisor teams are working together to create additional information and resources for you as well that you can use going forward. Couple of things, a real big request here. Please destroy any earlier versions that you have got of any of the materials. Always look to the website, the rotarygbi.org website, for the latest versions of everything. And no, the entry forms are not available to the public. Why not? Because we want the public to go through a Rotary member to connect with Rotary, to actually be supported through entry to the competitions, whether that's as an individual, whether it's with a school or a community organisation or whatever it is. They need to go through Rotary, who will provide them with the entry form. And when I say go through Rotary, I don't mean through the Rotary Support Centre or one of the specialist advisor teams or the competitions inquiry email team. It's to connect with Rotarians on the ground in their area. So please give them a warm welcome. Even if you are not running that competition in your area, connect them with somebody who is. Connect them with your district youth lead. If you're stuck, connect them with somebody else in your district team, or come back to the competitions@rotarygbi.org email address and say, we need some help here. But please, it's about the experience that the people inquiring receive. Some of those inquiries come from young people, some from parents, carers, schools, whatever. And it's surprising how many get ignored, how many get a bad response, or just simply, sorry, we're not running it here. We need to turn that around. We need to think about the experience anybody that connects with Rotary has, whatever their query. There's also a lovely booklet around Rotary youth programs and Rotary youth competitions available through the Rotary shop, and we'll share information about that. I have to say that at the moment, the booklet does not currently contain the Rotary Young Environmentalist competition. As soon as that supply is run out, the new booklet will have the Rotary Young Environmentalist competition in it, but the leaflet for all of the competitions, one per competition, one per Rotary Young Citizen Awards, there is a leaflet specifically about Rotary Young Environmentalist as well. Next slide, please. On the website, there's always a link to the Rotary magazines. And if you haven't spotted it yet, go back to the May 2025 Rotary magazine. There's lots of great stories in there about the Rotary Youth Competition face-to-face finals. Go to the May 2025 version. Go to the August 2025 competition for all of the results for the Rotary non-face-to-face Rotary Youth Competitions. And also in there is a great little link about what's happening for 2025-26, including some public image hints in there to help you. And the team would be pleased to help. Now, when you go to the website on the next slide, there are two places that you need to go. So one of them, and this is, you can see at the top, it says members area. This means I have gone on to the rotarygbni.org website and I have logged in as a member. I've gone to the Rotary Youth Competitions page. Please note that at the top, in the first paragraph, it mentions the 2025-26 Rotary Youth Competition Guidelines. It's a link. Click it. Please read the document there. It's an overview aimed for all Rotarians involved in any of the Rotary Youth Competitions. And then within that guide is just 2 or 3 key things about each of those competitions, but from a Rotarian's perspective. Next. On the left, you've seen some of the headings for the different competitions. When you click in either of those, any of those headings, or indeed you go further down that first page to the icons for a competition and click that, they'll take you to the same page. So for this one, I actually clicked going to the Rotary Young Chef competition. At the bottom of the page, for every one of those Rotary Youth competitions, there's 2 columns. Resources for Rotarians, resources for the public. And that is to show you what the public have got access to, but also the additional information that you've got access to. And that's where you will find your entry form in the left-hand column, your poster, your marking guide for the judges for the Rotary Young Chef, and particularly any other specifics like the menu and ingredients form. So please make sure you look at all of the things in the resources for Rotarians. What they've got in the resources for the public, you've also got in that resources for Rotarians, but that's showing you what they've got access to, and this is what you've got access to. So thank you. On to the next slide. So dates for 2025-26, again, they've been widely publicised. The national final, that's for the Rotary Young Chef, Rotary Young Citizen Awards and Rotary Young Musician, is taking place on Saturday the 25th of April, and we hope by the end of this month to be able to announce where the venue is going to be. I think you're going to be very happy with that venue, where it is geographically and with the venue itself. But until we've got the contract signed on the dotted line, we can't announce where it's going to be. The deadline for submissions, now this is the deadline for submissions by districts for the district winners of the Rotary non-face-to-face competitions, is Thursday the 30th of April, and you need to speak to your district youth lead around what are the dates and arrangements for district rounds and indeed, if it's a face-to-face event, for the cluster rounds for all of the Rotary Youth Competitions. And for Rotary Young Citizen Awards, and this is something that I'll talk about a little bit later, and we'll share a video with you, all the nominations have to be at the Rotary Support Centre by Friday, the 6th of February, 2026. Next slide, please. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the team here, and we're going to talk about a few of the things that we've shown you there. Phil, can I start with you, please, around promoting your project? You've mentioned using things like bubbles or boards or things. How do you see those working, and how could you perhaps involve people that have been involved in young youth competitions the previous year, or the Rotary Young Writer winner or whatever? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I am slightly unprepared today because I'm in a different location, but we have a Rotary Public Image Supply Centre, which creates a. In fact, have I got one here? Just bear with me. Just bear with me. As if by magic. There you go. So we've got the Public Image Supply Centre, which is operated by a third party, creates these boards, and they come in a number of sizes and colours. They cover all the areas of focus. They cover Rotary, they cover People of Action, they cover EPN, and you can order these boards from the supply centre. As I said, slightly unprepared, so I will make sure the URL goes out in the follow-on information. But if you receive, as you will, the service newsletter in the next couple of days, the public image newsletter will be out on Monday, and the service newsletter will be out towards the end of the week. There will be links to the supply centre there, because we are doing a showcase on End Polio Now, because on the 24th of October it's World Polio Day. So these make your photographs look a little bit more alive, and there is no doubt that this is a Rotary competition, and that's what we're trying to do. So you can order these. They're pretty cost effective. They last for ages. They're just a plastic board. And I would encourage you to use these in your photographs. And what better way of bringing a bit of excitement and vibrancy to a photograph than having half a dozen of these in the photograph with your competition winners and participants. So yeah, use them. Rotary Public Image Supply Centre.
Thanks very much.
What was the next question? Sorry,
No, that's fine. Let's just move on to Ken if we can. Ken, in the context of getting people involved, and we've talked about the various Rotary members, the Rotarians, what about working with others and connecting with others? Any thoughts on that? And how can that help membership for Rotary?
I think the big question is, where is the expertise? And quite often the expertise might not be in Rotary, but is it in your community? Absolutely it is. And if people are involved and get a buzz out of helping, working with youth, seeing them buzz, seeing the future develop, think what it's going to do for them. Think about the image it's going to create for Rotary. I'm going to go back to Francesco Arezzo, and I used his words in the membership newsletter that comes out on Monday. You know, on our own, we might not always succeed, but together we absolutely will win. And we've got to pull in the best resource available to us. Think about the judges. Have you got the best judges in your club for doing MasterChef? Young chef, master chef, does it make a difference at all? They're all, I've seen the results of the chef, they're fantastic. But if you don't have that expertise, the expertise is in your community, it's in your district, it's in other clubs. And when you're also looking at that, thinking about the venue. How can the venue help? The venue wants to look good itself. And if it's promoting Rotary, well, that's fantastic. Make sure there's a big Rotary sign outside that's saying, we're inside, we're doing things in here. Don't just keep it inside the venue. Tell other people. So lots of ways, Jannine.
Thanks very much, Ken. Phil, we've got a question from Brigitte Faubert about creating contact emails for each of their competitions. They want to do something in their own club, and they've created a domain name for it, but they can't work out how to set up email addressing. Is that the sort of thing that somebody from your team might be able to help them with?
Certainly we could give some guidance on it. I have to say, I did see that question earlier on. It's straying into the sort of super technical, but I can give you some broad brush advice on. It depends where they got the domain and how it's where it's hosted and all sorts of things in there. But I'm happy for her to reach out. So my email address will be towards the end of this presentation, and is fairly easy to get hold of from Rotary Great Britain and Ireland. It's on the newsletters. So just tell her to reach out. That'll be great.
Okay, Phil, thank you. I mean, we keep mentioning newsletters. Let's just be clear. What happens on the 15th of every month is each of the specialist advisor teams sends out a specific newsletter to the district leads for that particular service team. So for public image, that newsletter goes to the 24 district public image leads. For membership, it goes to the 24 district membership leads. Humanitarian service, it goes to community, vocational, international, youth, environment, resilience, blah, blah, blah. So they get their specific newsletter. But then what happens 2 days later, on the 17th of the month, is every Rotarian that has got a registered email address receives something called service news. Within that email, there are 3 or 4 bullet points extracted from each of those team newsletters. Great. Make sure you read the service news, but more importantly, click on each of those mentions of those newsletters and you can see the entire newsletter from that team. And I'm going to be biased, and then I'm sure Phil and Ken will interrupt as well, but please click the link to the humanitarian service one, because that's our main source of telling you progress, problems, ideas, events, etc., linked to Rotary service. Ken or Phil, do you want to add anything on those?
Absolutely. Just click it after membership.
Okay, that I'll go with the after membership.
Yeah, I would just add that all of the service newsletters are great, and there is some specific information in there, right, relating to humanitarian service, public image, and membership. But when you link them all together, great public image brings about a better, more vibrant event, which brings about a membership dividend. And if we can link the 3 together, we are working as a 3 today. We work as a team across Rotary Great Britain and Ireland, and that's when the magic happens.
Thanks very much, both of you. Okay. What I'd like to do now is just ask you, Phil, in the context of photographs and videos, two things. So first of all, we have introduced something called an image consent form. And if it's relevant to a particular Rotary Youth competition, it will be part of the information that goes out in all those materials we've shown you earlier. So for instance, if you're entering the Rotary Young Photographer competition and you're taking a picture of your little sister jumping in the hay bales, because the theme for this year is happiness in nature, we need to have an image consent form from a parent or carer or legal guardian of that person for that image to be being seen and used. That's separate to the actual photograph or video that you may be wanting to take around an event that you're putting on. Phil, what's the situation around copyright and all those sorts of things around photographs and videos?
So, photographs involving a minor, you need consent for. So the consent form will come into there. You're quite able to take photographs of backs of heads and a situation, but you shouldn't be able to visually identify a child without a consent form in there. So it is a tricky area. So a disclaimer on the event, you know, as you come through the event, to say photographs will be taken. If you've got any issues associated with this, please, because there'd be general photographs, backs of heads photographs, sort of setting the scene photographs, doing a little bit of storytelling type photographs. But photographs involving the actual attendees and participants and winners, um, you will need that consent form. You need that consent form there for it to be used. It's as simple as that. So just, if in doubt, the whole thing with copyright, whether you're doing a youth competition or anything else in Rotary, if in doubt, leave it out. You need to have that the hot water that you could get yourself into. It's not worth the risk. So the consent form is critical there. It might seem a little bit draconian, but that's the best way of attacking it, I'm afraid.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. And also from a copyright perspective, when you're sharing information, you know, don't just utilize something that you've seen on a website from your local press or things like that. You have to do it the right way, or not do it at all. And, you know, the public image team can provide lots of help on that. And there are some recordings of some great webinars that help on that as well, aren't there?
Yeah. So just touching on copyright there, it's that whoever takes the photograph has the copyright. And if you haven't taken that photograph, then you need permission. So that's as simple as that. There is a great webinar that was refreshed earlier this year with myself and Dave King, the Rotary editor, which gives you loads of advice about what to do and more specifically not to do. It is a problem in these islands, and right clicking and saving an image from someone else's source is just not the done thing, and you are likely to be opening yourself up for some prosecution down the line if you are caught. And we now live in a world of artificial intelligence, and there are bots on the web searching for people's images all the time. So just be careful.
Yeah, absolutely. And we know that there are instances where Rotarians with the best will in the world, even here in Great Britain and Ireland, have fallen foul of those bots that are searching. Ken, from you know, imagery point of view, and Phil has talked about how important the right stories are, etc., around using images and video. What do you think from a membership perspective? What would you like to see in the stuff that goes out, the reports that go out?
I'd just like to see something simple. I don't like lots of words. You've heard me before. You don't see lots of words if I do a slide, if I even do a slide. What I want to see is what Phil nailed it earlier. He mentioned we buy with our eyes. How are we going to advertise what we're doing in youth competitions? How can we do that simply? How can we show that inviting picture that says, as we're flicking through WhatsApp or whatever, that says, stop, I want to have a look, bit more information on here. But also remember, we're focusing, who's your audience in that? Our audience it's the youth who want to enter the competitions, but it's also the mums and dads that might want to support it and potentially become members in the future, or the teachers, or the judges, or some of the youth clubs. We don't need to stick to schools. What about the cadets? What about the scouts? What about the guides? What about lots of different people we're trying to hook in here? So everything's an opportunity for us.
Thanks, Ken. Absolutely. And let's not think about Rotary Youth Competitions and Rotary Young Citizen Awards in isolation. This is part of the offering around Rotary. It's part of a story. It's part of a generational way of getting touched by Rotary, and stay in touch. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Phil, you produced a lovely little video, and I know that it's been adapted a few times. And, you know, we're going to talk about the boring speaker, and Ken, you've referred to it before. You know, that boring and dare I say it, stereotypically, the man in a suit with a tie, standing up on a stage where it's Rotary Youth Competitions, surrounded with young people, and it's so boring. And Ken, when we were talking and preparing for this seminar, you said you'd done it yourself. Maybe if you've got the facilities, you could show one or two of the really great videos that are out there now. And we will send you some ideas of videos that we think might be suitable for showing. But Phil, could you show your do what you can, do what you can't video? Because I think this is a great snappy one that could potentially be shown. Thank you. Ken, that's the end of that was about membership. I mean, what's your thoughts about that being one of the sorts of videos to show at an event or even to promote on your website when you're highlighting an event?
Isn't it just inspiring? Doesn't that just say everything that we do? Whether it's for the community, whether it's for the world, whether it's for the youth. You think you can't do something. I'll go back to Francesco Arezzo. Together we can. Together we can do anything. Who thought 40 years ago when Rotary declared to the children of the world that we're going to eliminate polio from this world forever? We're this close to doing that. You can't do it. Oh, yes, you can. And people, if they can see they can do that, will want to join Rotary. Whether it's through youth, whether it's through anything else, whether it's polio, that inspires people. Show it wherever you can. Put it on your own website. I take it there's no copyright on this, Phil?
Free for Rotary use.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. And, you know, as both Phil and Ken have been saying, it's a presentation, it's an advert to the world. But actually, getting people involved in Rotary Youth Competitions, because I'm sure those of you that are giving up a Saturday morning today are actually really keen. Maybe you've been running them for years. But if you've got people that might be interested in joining, or you've got new members, what better way to really highlight the power of Rotary and the difference it can make than getting them involved, come along to an event, get involved in helping organise an event, come along to the national final on Saturday, the 25th of April. It's a fantastic advert, and these young people, whether they're the winners or a participant, and it's not just about the winners, and we mustn't forget that. For some people, the very fact that they have been able to enter something and they end up with a certificate of participation, that might be the only certificate they ever get in their school lives or their young lives. So we really do have that impact. Okay, so we're talking about celebrating success. We're talking about showcasing what you're actually doing and those young people and what they've created or what they've written or whatever it is that they've done. Well, I'd like to introduce now Rotarian Caroline Evans. Caroline has been very involved at a GB&I level over recent years with the Rotary Young Artist, as well as within her own club and her own district. And she's continuing with her club and district work. And they have done an amazing piece of work several years now, involving a display, I think it's a month-long display at their local hospital of Rotary Young Artist work. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to hand over to Caroline now so she can share what they've done, how they've done it, and what they're planning to do going forward to give you some ideas of what you might be able to do in your local area. Thank you. Over to you, Caroline.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to talk about the Rotary Young Artist Competition and Norwich St Edmund Rotary Club's approach towards the competition. The first point I'd really like to make is that it was very much a piece of teamwork. We had 3 Rotarians working on this, all with different skills and supporting one another. When we thought about doing the competition, we approached Norwich and Norfolk University Hospital, who have long, wide corridors with no artwork. We were very fortunate because they did agree to us having the space and offered it to us for 3 months, which was rather longer than we initially thought, but a great opportunity. We worked with their environmental arts group, who I'll explain a little bit more about later on, and they were very helpful to us. We included local dignitaries because we wanted the work of the council to know what Rotary was doing and to know how we were engaging with young people. Initially, we approached quite a few schools. We did this via taking packs of the information into the schools directly and then following it up with emails. We decided that it'd be best to actually approach the schools personally rather than initially through an email. And this worked really well. We had 2 schools, first of all, and that's grown. This year we're looking at 6 schools being involved, and I think word is gradually spreading. We also involved Rota Kids, which is organised by Blackfriars Rotary Club. They came along and they participated too, so that was great to see them involved. Finally, local judges. We approached local artists who, with no contact to Rotary. We thought this would be a good idea for them to be involved, to use their expertise, but also for them to find out more about Rotary as well. Next slide. As you can see from the slide, the corridors are not very inspiring. So this was a good opportunity for us. We displayed the children's work along with their actual pieces of information that they wrote about each of their artworks. We did decide that we would type this up because it was easier to read that way round. We're also quite vigilant on the fact that the work would be titled and there would be just the first name of the pupil rather than the name, the full name and the school. The one factor we did really discuss with the hospital was that whilst the work was spread along a very long, narrow corridor, we didn't want any work to be put near the mortuary because we knew the children and their parents and friends and family would be visiting the work to see the exhibition. So we felt that that was quite an important factor, that the mortuary should be ruled out as a space where the work was displayed. Next slide. This is one of our judges. He came along and spent quite a long time looking at each of the artworks, spending time reading what the pupils said about it, thoroughly enjoyed his time, found it very, very challenging, was absolutely delighted because as an artist, he felt that there was so much creativity in the work that was being displayed. He also made the point that he was impressed with Rotary. He knew Rotary wasn't an arts organisation, and the fact that we were promoting art, engaging young people, he felt was so very important. So for him, it was a real turning point, and that word has spread through to the other art groups in the area. So we're looking at developing further some of our contacts with art groups later on. Martin, who is our artist here, has been involved in coming along to the celebration evenings and also has attended other Rotary functions too. I'm not going to say he's going to be a full Rotarian, but he is definitely engaged with what we are doing. Next slide. The exposure from this exhibition was really fantastic. We had the opportunity to display the work, display information about the young people's creativity, but also to talk about the aims of the project, those who can participate, the theme, and also to talk about a little bit about Rotary. We had to be quite careful because obviously we didn't want it to look as if we were only using the space to promote Rotary, but we wanted the exhibition to showcase what Rotary does and what Rotary does really well. So for 2 months, we were able to have the opportunity of promoting Rotary and the Young Artist Competition. Next slide. As part of the competition, we decided that we would have a fun celebratory evening, which was held in one of the auditoriums. Now, this was care of very much the environmental group at the hospital, who provided refreshments beforehand, and we had a piano and we had a pianist playing, so that when the parents and visitors all arrived, and obviously the young artists, they were have some refreshments, talk to people, and then Rotarians gathered and took them along and showed them all the artwork along the corridors. Obviously, it is a hospital. It's a functioning hospital. It's busy. But at the same time, it was really important for us all to make sure that we made this as fun and interesting an evening for everybody as we possibly could. The pupils came along with their parents, family and friends, and I will say that the parents were absolutely delighted with the whole event. Leslie Dyer, who is a fairly new chief executive of the Norwich and Norfolk University Hospital, was brilliant. She actually spoke to everyone, explained how she felt that the arts was a really important part of helping people understand and feel more at home in hospitals, and also for the young people not to be frightened if they ever had to go to a hospital because they'd already been to one and visited, and it was a fun event. She also made the comment, and this has been backed up, that in a recent report from Denmark, that with artwork around hospitals makes people's recovery better. You need to read the report on that one. The local dignitaries came along. They were great. They actually made sure that there was an opportunity for all the children to have photographs taken with them. We involved Rotarians from other Rotary clubs to come along and participate. The press came along and it was in the local newspaper. And then again, other local artists joined in too. We did make it very much a roll call. We had a drum roll going, and then we called every single child up. They were presented with a certificate, and they were also given a small prize. The small prize is very much either a packet of crayons or some pencils, but each child received something. Next slide. More photographs of the young people receiving their awards, feeling very proud and pleased with themselves. They all had visited the exhibition. They saw their artwork up in the corridor. They heard people's comments, and they were all very, very pleased. I will add that many of the pupils involved in this competition were actually pupil premium, which means that they have various challenges. So for them and for their parents, it was a very proud moment that they were seen, their self-esteem was really acknowledged and boosted. Next slide. And finally, some of the winners. The image on the left is of a whale and swimming away on the seabed, and there's a lighthouse looking out with a beam, aware of trying to see if there are any whale catchers around, and there's a submarine, and this is by a pupil who is about 8 years of age. And the one on the right, the young woman, actually this went on to win the district level of the Rotary competition, and then was selected as the 3rd place in the national competition. So that was absolutely amazing. And you'll see a photograph of her in a moment. Next slide, please. So to the future, we're very aware that we've made a really good start. We are all enjoying organising this and working with the other people involved too. So we want to develop more connections with schools. So word is getting out. So that's actually becoming quite good, and the numbers that we're receiving for schools interested, but not just schools. There are other groups too that we know are keen to join us. Circulating information to art groups is one way of doing that. We have a Norfolk Contemporary Art Society, so I'm going to be writing to them to ask if they will promote the competition. Art Space in Cromer is another organisation, and they are also keen to circulate information. So if it goes out to different artists, Rotary gets to be known, and it will receive support from different people who may not have heard about the competition. So that's important. We want to improve our social media links. Yes, we have Instagram and Facebook, and we're certainly improving on the language and the images that we put on those links, but we want to develop that further. To date, whilst we've had fantastic support from the hospital, the environmental groups, the local dignitaries, we haven't actually sought sponsorship. So that may be an avenue that we actually look towards, seeing if we can do something about that as well. There are a number of galleries in Norwich and in Norfolk, so that might be another area that we can look to see if we could connect with, and to see if they will be keen to either promote or support the activity. And then finally, plus anything else at all, you know, we are actually keen to see what else we can do, and to hear of anybody else's ideas. Because one of the privileges I've had of being part of the national programme for developing the Rotary Young Artists competition has been hearing about some of the other amazing activities that are going on in different parts of the country. Down in Kent, they have quite a considerable project going, so I've learned from that. And certainly Harrogate, who joined one of the Rotary clubs in Harrogate, and I can't remember its name, they joined this year and participated and have made some very good connections so far. Again, in Scotland, there's some good work going on, and Reading this year are connecting their Rota kids and their Interact pupils, and a local art exhibition they run too. So there's some really good examples of very good practice taking place.
Well, that was brilliant, Caroline. Very, very well done to everybody involved in making that such a success, multiple years over a sustained period of time too, for that incredible exhibition. There's a couple of questions I'd like to just address very briefly, if I may, from Stuart in relation to concern about the costs of running competitions allocated to club and district levels. How can we get that addressed at whatever level is most likely to be needed? Just to let you all know that there is currently a board working group, Rotary Great Britain and Ireland Strategic Board Working Group, looking at the future of Rotary Youth Competitions and Rotary Young Citizen Awards. And one of the aspects that it is looking at is around costs, and what is expected to be paid by whom and for what, etc., etc. But don't forget, maybe there are local sponsors that would help you. Maybe there are people that will give their services free of charge. Even in this day and age, yes, they do still exist. Kenneth, got any thoughts on any of that?
Plenty. All you need to do is ask at the end of the day. what's the worst you're going to get? Oh, I'm sorry, we can't do it. But if you don't ask for help, if you don't ask for the support, you're not going to get it. I, where I am up in the northeast of Scotland, people say, "Oh, you're a bit mean up there." Not true, not true. We find in our community, people are just so generous with their help. Our local sign maker, um, when we come round to supporting all the kids on Santa's sleigh, who's front of the queue to help? Who makes the signs for the side of the sleigh? Go and ask the people in your community. The people are there, they want to do it. It's an ask. And if you get no, ask somebody else.
Absolutely. And I think sometimes when we ask, we might ask for a specific thing. Maybe we actually ask more generally. Maybe we get some of the youngsters that have been involved previously to help with that asking, help with promoting, help with advertising. It leads on to another question, which is from Angeles, or it's a comment really. She's asked Martin Tandy. Martin is one of the communications team at the support centre. He does a lot of the designs about making a design for some 3 metre long banners. Now, I have to say, in the question, it's put about young chef and young musician. I do hope the design is about Rotary young chef and Rotary young musician. So we do need to just touch base on that. I think it would be great if you all have got resources, if you've got ideas that you are doing in your local area that you think others could help with or support with or would actually like to share the designs for, let's make sure that we do that. So yes, Angeles, let's follow up afterwards. You'll have our contact details, follow up, and we will arrange to share information about those designs elsewhere. She does make the point that the public image supplier that the support centre website mentions, they were able to get them locally more cheaply. Absolutely. As long as what you're doing, you're getting it brand compliant, Phil, brand compliant, and it's actually a quality, then you need to make sure it's spot on. Phil and his team can help you with that. And thank you for putting that in.
Can I add something in there, Jannine?
Please.
In our district, we've actually bought 8 pop-ups. We've bought 3 metre horizontal banners. We've bought 2.5 metre horizontal banners. We've bought 2 3 metre high flags, and they're available to any club and district that asks for them. So in your district, go and persuade your district, the next council, go and tell them to spend £1 here and there, and share it around the district. Why bear all the burden in one club?
Absolutely. And it's not just about sharing within your district. What about sharing within your assistant governor area? And going back to those queries that you get and you just say, no, we don't do it. Speak to the other clubs in your assistant governor area. Get your assistant governor to help you with it. Absolutely. So I'd like to, if we can, just move on briefly to the Rotary Young Citizen Awards. Phil, Ken, Rotary Young Citizen Awards, recognising young people or groups of young people up to the age of 25. That's not a good story, is it? These amazing young people? What do you think?
I think it's a brilliant story. I think we should be shouting from the rooftops at every opportunity about the work that we do with the young people of this country, these islands, because we're doing it at that grassroots level, and the stories that come out of it are amazing.
We run that as well around us, but I'm just thinking. It just reminds me, very recently we did the Citizen of the Year, not Young Citizen, the Young Citizens Coming. The press gave us 2 pages. The press came back to us and asked us for content. They want to publish it, and we didn't get just published in the print version. It's on their website, and it's on the local community website. It's all over the place. The image that it's created for us is phenomenal. But not just for us. The image for the person that receives the award is fantastic as well. And the kudos that they get out of it is fantastic. Do it.
Absolutely. And I truly believe that Rotary Young Citizen Awards is an opportunity that we could be making so much more mileage of. If every club or assistant governor area or every district or whatever reached out to find people in their communities, and they might not be working in doing things in that local area, they might be working on something else somewhere else, but they're young people in their community. Let's actually get celebrations of these young people across Great Britain and Ireland. And then those that get endorsed, so every nomination for a Rotary Young Citizen Award has to be endorsed by a Rotary Club or a Rotary Hub for those members, those Rotarians via the direct route. So everyone that is endorsed can then be submitted by the deadline of the 6th of February 2026 to GB&I for the overall judging for the Rotary Young Citizen Awards. And there are the general awards, and there are 3 specific ones: Rotary Young Sporting Hero, Rotary Young Peacemaker, and Rotary Young Environmentalist. So lots of opportunity to highlight people doing good, making an impact, and lots of information around that available. Phil, we've got a great little video from somebody who was an interactor, who was a Rotary Young Citizen Wheel Power Award winner, is a Rotaractor now, and is also a Rotary Great Britain and Ireland ambassador, the wonderful Abbie Breakwell.
Hi, my name is Abbie Breakwell and I am a Paralympian. I won the Rotary Young Citizen Wheel Power Sports Award in 2018 and I am part of the Rotary family. I am very proud to say I am a Rotary Great Britain and Ireland ambassador. In 2025, I was a judge for the awards. We had over 65 nominations across Great Britain and Ireland, which were extremely high calibre. They were a diversity of different nominations, making judging even more challenging. It was great to celebrate young people, both individuals and groups, in the local areas that have made such great changes. Here are my top tips for nominating someone for the Young Citizens Awards. My first top tip is making sure you provide enough evidence, which adds value to the nomination. This could be showing fundraising efforts of videos or photos. For example, if you fundraise for money, show evidence of you fundraising for that money and a photo of you handing over the cheque to the establishment that you've been helping. We don't need to be random materials, so ensure that you have submitted the relevant information that helps the judges understand why this young person has been nominated to help strengthen their case the most. The judges can only make their decisions on the information that is given. This could include videos, interviews, newspaper articles, links to clips. This needs to be an ongoing volunteering project and not a one-off. A letter saying this person is wonderful isn't sufficient enough and needs to have evidence with it to support it. This is not for full-time employees for a charity or organisation unless the nominee is the person who set up the organisation or charity. This doesn't have to be about raising money. It can be something about helping benefit others. For example, if you are in your local area and doing gardening, teaching young children about gardening, especially those who are vulnerable, and helping them to create an organisation where they can sell that produce to help give young vulnerable people a job and opportunities is another example. We are looking at the impact that the person is making over a long period of time. This is due to one-off events only helping a small amount of people, and we want to make sure that every single person is helped for as long as possible. Longevity of these projects is so important for making sure they have a stability and a long-lasting impact. It is so important to recognise the hard work of these nominees. They so often go unnoticed and unappreciated for the hard work that they put in, and they quite often sit in the background quietly. But it is time for us to recognise their hard work and show them that we appreciate everything that they can do, and to help provide support going forward to make sure that they can create even better and bigger change. If you know an incredible young person and not sure if they should be nominated, go for it. You have nothing to lose. You never know, you may be supporting the next person who could change the world. My advice to those who are nominees: take this opportunity to create a bigger impact in the area that you're working on, and to connect with others that are also change makers to help to work together to make the biggest change possible. Being a nominee and also an award winner has helped me connect with so many other people who are helping to create change, and also to work together and collaborate both nationally and internationally and locally to be able to make great differences in our areas of expertise. Seeing other winners has also massively inspired me to push myself to be a better person and also to work harder. They've also given me inspiration for other things in our areas that could be worked on, and to work hard to be able to change them.
Well, Ken, Phil, any comments?
Good.
I think the video just says it all, doesn't it? Not only the benefit for the person today, but the benefit for that person in the future. You know, the person that sits quietly in the background and then building them up to a fantastic future. Just play the video now and again, will you please?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and that video is available for you to put onto your own websites, your own social media. Phil.
Yeah, I think it can be often overlooked about the impact of our work. And I think we get bogged down sometimes with organising the competition and making it as good as it can. And don't get me wrong, that it needs to be done, because we need to make it as good as we can on the day. And as you mentioned, Jannine, giving that certificate of attendance or participation to that person may change their life for that day or for that week, but it's the impact that we have on people's lives in 10, in 15 years' time. That's why we do what we do. And we give these people not only this sort of feel-good factor on the day, but the potential to be phenomenal later in their lives. And it's that change that's amazing.
And absolutely. And I think that I alluded to earlier, the importance of staying in touch.
Yeah.
There are so many benefits for the people concerned for staying in touch, but also for Rotary, staying in touch with them. You know, they might in 20 years' time be in a position that they want to leave a legacy to Rotary in their will for the Rotary Foundation. They might want to join Rotary. They might want to be a judge at something. I can remember at this year's Rotary Musician Final, one of the adjudicators, and we weren't actually aware of this, astonishingly, which we should have been, and we are now staying in touch. He actually came to the UK. He was an American. He came to the UK as a global scholar funded by Rotary. And he was there and spoke so eloquently about the impact Rotary had had on his life.
And just like that video there, what a fantastic ambassador for Rotary. If these people can be that, and these people are the winners. We use it with our youth competitions. We use it with RYLA. So the people that were this year's RYLA, they're out. So Rotary Young Leadership Awards.
Thank you.
I'm an RAA, that's a Rotarian Against Acronyms.
Really?
They're our ambassadors to sell that awards for next year. These people want to do it. Staying in touch, absolutely.
Phil.
No, I absolutely agree. Yeah, I think it's you staying in touch. I often talk about the storytelling, and when we tell our stories, as someone that spearheads public image, you know, strapping a Rotary badge or a sign or a label to it makes all the difference. But when you tell your story, it's not about the it's not necessarily about the competition, although that's really important because that's what we're talking about, but it's the impact of the competition has on people's lives. And sometimes that's, they just take a slightly different turn in their life and gone down this avenue. And we were instrumental in making that change, that turn, that encouragement, that hand on the shoulder, you've done really well today, has just changed them. It could be a pivotal moment in their lives. And I think following up on those stories about the impact that we have on people's lives is, again, I've said it too many times today already, that's when the magic of Rotary happens.
Yeah, absolutely. So going back to the events, I mean, Ken, you talked earlier about making sure that, when you go into a physical event, you can actually see it's a Rotary event. Maybe, dare I say, outside, you can see it's a Rotary event.
Oh, yes, please.
So if it's a Rotary event for a Rotary Youth Competition, say, so we only have information about Rotary Youth Competitions, don't we?
I'm not going to your one if that's all you do. No. We need to share everything about Rotary. Yes, it's an event. Go back to that "You Can't" video. If we can share that in that event, if we can share material that sits on each of the chairs about that video, if we then put with that, if you want to know more about Rotary, go and fill in this. And that comes to the follow-up that I'm not sure if we're just going to cover in a second, the follow-up part. Everything we do, and when you put the sign outside that says this is a Rotary event, make sure you invite the public in if it's a big final. Why should it be exclusive to Rotary and the mums and dads? This is a showcase. Go and use it for that.
Absolutely, it's a showcase. Yeah, and that follow-up is so important. So from a follow-up point of view, and continuing the story, Phil, how can public image help with that? Press releases, those sorts of things.
Yeah, I think it's always good to for everything that we do in Rotary is to celebrate success and remind people of that success. So, as the next round of youth competitions come up, you're advertising next year, but tell people what happened last year. We have had the following successes, and even like the Abbie story, which is a few years old now. That's the teasing, that's the hooking. This is what our successes have been, and it doesn't necessarily need to shout for your locality. It could be Rotary Great Britain and Ireland successes, because yeah, and that's a way of making that excitement, making that advertisement look a little bit more vibrant. But I would put it out all the time. So it's not about the competition that's in hand now. It's about preparing your audience, your community, that they're coming. And I'd be doing that sort of 6 months out and saying, we're getting ready. These are the competitions. These are the opportunities. These are the successes we've had. Why don't you get involved? And I think if we do that, it comes back to being consistent all the time, and make sure that everyone knows that it's a Rotary youth competition. That's what it's all about. This is our badge, and we need to shout to say these are Rotary competitions.
Yeah, absolutely. We are going to be doing some follow-ups, as we've said with you. We're going to be sharing some of the things that have been talked about today, but we're also going to be doing some other follow-ups. Phil has mentioned the Rotary Brand Centre and the information that's available there. His public image team can help you with things. Membership team, from a membership team's perspective, and we talked about all the different ways of being a Rotarian, let's not also forget the younger members of the Rotary family, Ken. What about Interact and Rotary Kids? And you mentioned RYLA, the Rotary Youth Leadership Awards, the alumni from those. How do we engage with them? How do we get them involved with this?
I'm going to cite my own club in this. We have 6 Rotary Kids clubs across. We failed in one school, but we're working on that. And when we share and work with them, we went up with Shelter Box recently to one of the schools. It's one of the smallest schools in the area, and they said, we like this. And they came back 4 weeks later and gave us a cheque for £1,062 for Shelter Box by doing things as Rotary Kids. What we get from the Rotary Kids, when we go up to the secondary school, the high school, can we have interact? We want to continue this. So it actually works all the way through, because at the end of the day, I'll come back again to what I said earlier. They are our future, not just Rotary's future, but the world's future. And if kids of 10 and 11-year-old can raise £1,062 in 4 weeks, think of the opportunity through youth competitions and through advertising, what we can really do to the world over the next 50 years.
Oh, wow. Anything to add on that at all, Phil?
No, I mean, I think Ken says it all there. I think you know, we need to, you know, plan and live for the moment and the competition that we've got in place, but we need to give that encouragement, because we just don't know where it's going to go, and the impact that we have on people's lives is incredible.
I've said before about using young people that have been involved to help you promote it. We've got a lovely little video to share with you from an 8-year-old Rotary Young Environmentalist entrant, Izzy from the Oban Rotary Club. I did think it was called Oban, and Ken, if you notice his accent, he knew better. So it's the Oban Rotary Club. Phil.
Hi, I'm Izzy and I'm 8 years old. I've been visiting beaches ever since I could walk. It's one of my favourite things to do. I especially picking up fossils. You can see my collection here. We've got belemnites, ammonites and devil's toenails. They're sea animals that have turned into fossils. This is the worst rubbish I have ever seen, and you can see all the rubbish is in behind the rocks, and there might be some fossils there, and I'm worried they might get destroyed. So I made a slogan and a big ammonite made out of all rubbish, especially made of ropes and nets, so I don't like the animals getting tangled in them. I made the slogan and the big ammonite to make people pick up rubbish and join me to help the planet. And that slogan was, keep the future bright for the sea's next ammonite. Hope you like my speech. Bye. Hi, I'm Izzy. I really enjoyed taking part in the Young Environmentalist Rotary competition because I love the planet and the seaside. And I really want to encourage people to take part in it next time. It's not just about winning, it's about helping the planet and keeping it safe. There's no other Earth in the solar system, so we need to keep the planet safe and ourselves. Bye!
Well, what an amazing young lady. And she wanted to do that. And I thought, well, how on earth did they make that happen? How did the Oban Rotary Club make that happen? And I was lucky enough to actually visit Oban after I'd seen that on holiday, because I'm currently on holiday in Scotland at the moment. So I've got another little video to show you. And I was able to talk to Dot, their youth convener in the Oban Rotary Club.
I'm Dot Dahl. I belong to the Rotary Club of Oban and I'm the Youth Services Convener.
Thank you, Dot. And we have just watched a couple of little videos from one of your Rotary Young Environmentalist entrants, Izzy. How on earth did you get hold of Izzy and how did you get her to do those videos for you?
Well, I was very lucky indeed because I actually went to the schools and I had good entries from some of the schools, but I also went out to social media through our communications officer, and I like to use our local newspaper, the Oban Times, who are very good at helping to advertise the kind of thing we're doing. So it was actually through the Oban Times and the contact for the club that went with the little article that I was eventually contacted by Izzy's mum. And they're hugely interested in the environment because they go out regularly, as you could see from what she was saying, collecting fossils where they are easily available and one is allowed to find them there, and have been disgusted really at the state of some of the beaches, and we're happy to have it advertised that they have a little one who was keen to just say what she felt about it.
That's brilliant. And do you think you're going to be able to do more with Izzy going forward, or expanding Rotary Young Environmentalist competition generally?
Well, we've done the Young Environmentalist competition 2 years running, but last year, in fact, it only went to district level. Ought to continue at national level. And I'm very pleased to say this year that is what's happening.
Absolutely it is, Dot. So now it's back. It's one of the non-face-to-face Rotary Youth Competitions for 25-26. And we're looking forward to having lots and lots of entries. So any last tips from you, Dot, for reaching out beyond schools and getting other youngsters involved in all of your activities?
Well, yes, go to as many different young people's concerns as you can and include people like young carers groups and so on. Do not stick purely to schools, because schools and teachers, heads and so on are so busy. There are so many demands on them that I think we have to try and contact young people in every way possible.
Thank you very much, Dot, and hope to see lots of entries from your district and from your club going forward in all of our Rotary Youth competitions.
With a bit of luck, we're looking forward to this year's participation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, give young people a voice. They're the ones that can get the message across better than any of us. I just want to answer two questions that are in the Q&A box, and then turn to each of our team for closing comment, please. So one was about, is this a particular presentation available which can be used to promote and share the themes from this webinar within our club? The recording of this event will be available, and it will have an index on it. And on that index, all you've got to do is, if you are really wanting to hear what Phil had to say about this or what Ken had to say about that, you just click at that, on that point at on the index, and it will automatically take you to that point. But if there's anything in particular that you would like any help with or any support with, we were going to be sharing our contact details as we end this morning, and you can get in touch with any of us. But also, you can get in touch with any of us if you go to the members area of the rotarygbi.org website about Rotary GBNI, and you go to the specialist advisor teams. You can find the contacts for all of us and all of our team members in your area, in your cluster. So we are always there to help. And again, the recording will be available. You will get an email directly to tell you when it is available sometime next week, but it will be available on the Rotary Great Britain and Ireland Youth YouTube channel. Unfortunately, Hannah is now with us. Can we just bring in Hannah for a second, Phil, just so that you can all actually see her live? I think she might be on the attendees rather than the panelists. Is that possible? Yes, great. So Hannah, if and when you're with us, you need to share your video, because otherwise you won't appear on the screen at all. And while we're waiting for that, Ken, have you got one last message for everybody from a membership's perspective around Rotary Youth Competitions and Rotary Young Citizen Awards?
Absolutely. I use the word impossible, and I change the word impossible to I'm possible. Together, anything is possible. And we've just heard it all today. So go for it. Just do it, but do it together.
Thanks. Phil, a closing comment from you before we leave the last word with Hannah.
I would go back to my little video and remember that Rotary allows you to do what you can't. Together, we can do more. We've heard it from the RI presidents, and do what you can't. Thank you.
Thank you. Hannah, lovely to see you. Thank you for being with us. I know you were on childcare various tasks, as you so often are. So as I said, everyone, Hannah is a member of our Rotary GB&I youth team, and she is the lead for Rotary Youth Competitions. So I know you haven't been able to be with us for all of today. We're going to be closing in a couple of minutes. Hannah, last comments from you, please.
How do I give last comments to something I wasn't here for? If anyone's got any questions about anything youth competitions wise, then yeah, just send me an email and I'd be happy to help. Yeah, I've been mum taxi all morning.
Mum taxi, yeah. And I guess you haven't been paid very well for that one, Hannah.
No, it's my biggest volunteering role.
Absolutely. So any questions at any point, Hannah's email is up there. You've now seen her in the flesh. She does exist. She has got a voice. You've got the general inquiries competitions email address there, competitions@rotarygbi.org. It is contained in all of the information packs. All of the inquiries go automatically to that email address. You've got my email address, rotaryjannine@icloud.com. Don't forget, I've got 3 N's in my Jannine, Jannine. Number of people moan that that I just can't get hold of me and I don't respond. Well, if they sent it to my real email address instead of Jannine, it might get there. Ken, there's yours. Phil, there's yours. I just want to thank all of the rest of you for being here and giving up a Saturday, and for the change that you are going to bring to young people's lives and all those involved with those young people through participation in one form or another with Rotary Youth Competitions and Rotary Young Citizen Awards, and with everything else that Rotary offers to young people. Thank you all so very much. Have a great day. Have a great weekend.